There are a few things in the new Balatro update that are pretty easy to overlook. I'll start with the thing that I feel is the easiest thing to miss, the change in anti-scaling. In white stakes, ante 3 and 4 now require a little bit less score. In green stakes and higher, antes 2 through 4 are a little bit lower, while 5 through 8 are a bit higher. And then scaling in purple and beyond, 2 through 4 are a little bit lower, and 6 through 8 are a little bit higher. Now what this means is that you have to just really be ready for ante 5 in general, as that's where the big jump happens, as with the score being dropped, it's just going to jump bigger. The later ones weren't changed, or in the later cases, they were increased even. As things are just also a little bit easier going through ante 4. This is important to keep in mind because it means you just need a little bit less power to get through those force ante. So you're able to take a bit more risk on some X-Mult jokers or some other jokers that give you nice bonuses, such as trading card, that lets you, make your deck get a little smaller and gives you some econ a little bit early on. The trick is just making sure that as you approach ante 5, you're ready to go online then. To aid with all of this, and this is mostly just a side note, you're probably going to notice this one, it was added that in the first store, there will always be a buffoon pack now. This means you should have a pretty good odds of being able to find either a chip or plus mult joker in the first store to help you get ahead of the curve early on. Another thing worth mentioning that's really easy to miss is that upcoming blinds and tags can now be seen in the shop immediately after defeating the boss blind when you're cashing out. Previously, you couldn't see what the next round was bringing, and now you can. This might not sound like much of a change, but extra info of knowing what's coming can be huge for planning out what to do next. I want to highlight the blue seal change as well. The change to blue seal is huge, don't overlook it. Previous blue seals gave you a random planet card if you had it in your hand. It was in general pretty useless. Now blue seal gives you a planet card for the final poker hand you played during the round. This means if you play the hand you want to build up at the end of the round, you get to build it up. It's way more targeted and way more useful. It could be a huge buff to your build. And because it's better, it's also a bit of buff to standard packs as well, as you can sometimes find cards with blue seals in them, and those cards don't have to line up with what you're playing. Though in general, it's better if they do as a backup plan. I also just wanted to mention, don't overlook that the Magician card now lets you create 2 lucky cards instead of 1. Finally, I wanted to hit the changes to the tags. If a tag does something to a joker, whether it's creating a rare or uncommon or adding some sort of effect to the joker, it now also makes them free. It's a huge buff. Investment now also gives 25 instead of 15. It's still not amazing to skip a ton, as, doing the shop tends to help your deck a bit more, but it definitely helps and encourages it more. And it makes the analog deck even more amusing if you're trying to get a bunch of negative jokers. There were also a ton of joker changes and some new mechanics added as well, but those have enough changes that they deserve their own video. I've talked about the vampire change, which ultimately did get reverted back to uncommon instead of rare, which made me happy. Though my verdict still stands, I think the change in general is fine. So until the next video, hope you all stay well.